over to the main topic here for Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, an exit survey. All right. Why don't you hit us with the synopsis, Nick?
Teen Miles Morales becomes the Spider-Man of the universe and must join with 5 spider-powered individuals from other dimensions to stop a threat to all realities. I'll tell you what, the first half of that synopsis, it's kind of clunky.
Yeah, becomes a Spider-Man and must join with 5. Yeah, I'm not a teen. I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan of the IMDb here. Thumbs down.
There we go.
This is written by Phil Lord and Rodney Rothman. That's 2 thumbs up on that name. I like that name, Rodney Rothman. Kind of sounds like maybe a safety or something in the NFL, right?
Oh yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, maybe like a hard-hitting in-the-box safety there. Directed by Bob Paraschetti, Peter Ramsey, and the starting in-the-box safety for the Spider-Verse, Rodney Rothman. Starring Shameik Moore as Miles Morales, Jake Johnson as Peter B. Parker, Hailee Steinfeld as Gwen Stacy, Mahershala Ali as Uncle Aaron or Prowler, Brian Tyree Henry as Jefferson Davis, Lily Tomlin as Aunt May, Luna Lauren Velez as Rio Morales, Zoe Kravitz as Mary Jane, John Mulaney as Spider-Ham, Kamiko Glenn as Penny Parker, Nicolas Cage as Spider-Man Noir, Catherine Hahn as Doc Ock, Liev Schreiber as Wilson Fisk, and Chris Pine as the blonde Peter Parker. Just a star-studded cast.
Yeah, there was so Catherine Hahn was one that surprised me this time around. Like I looked it up, but I did not know that was Liev Schreiber. And I think you said Spider-Man Noir's name wrong. I think it's a little bit longer than how you pronounce it.
What did I say?
Yeah, fucking Cage. Or something like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
I thought I really said it wrong because there was a couple times in there. I was like, I'm not really sure.
No, I think
but Hailee Steinfeld, I completely forgot that she was Gwen Stacy, Brian Tyree Henry, Mahershala Ali, Lily Tomlin is Aunt May. I mean, they've really pulled out all the stops here. And if we can turn back the clocks a little bit, I don't think there was that much hype from this movie.
Going in, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think there was. I think that's fair.
Another Sony Spider-Man movie that's animated. Yep. Who's this for? And then they really pulled out they got a great single to market it behind there that we just played a little snippet of. And then as you heard with this cast, really everyone on there. I mean, Chris Pine plays probably has 20 lines in it, and it all comes in the 5 minutes there, and then he's gone. But
yeah, and it's well, we'll talk a little more multiversal stuff a little bit later because there are some unanswerable questions, or maybe answerable. Who knows? But they're unanswerable now, at least. As for the box office reception, this brought in $375.5 million worldwide, including 190 domestic and 35 million in the domestic opening for this movie. Received a 8.4 out of 10 on IMDb. 97-93 split on Rotten Tomatoes. Kind of surprised that the critics have this a little bit higher than the audience. But not surprised by the 97 grade necessarily. A 4.8 out of 5 on Google reviews, with only 84% of Google users liking this movie.
I once again, I don't understand the Google user metric here. I bet it's binary, but this doesn't make any. If it's binary, then what is that? 16% of people who didn't like this movie.
Yeah, and how does it get a 4.8 out of 5?
Right. Yeah, very weird.
Doesn't make any sense to me. And I'm honestly I know IMDb has been a little. Personally, I felt a little weird about IMDb's grading system recently, but 8.4. What?
Yeah. Actually, that's true. That actually falls in line with Google users, right? That averages out to the same thing. Doesn't really make that much sense to me, but no. I guess 8.4 out of 10 sounds better than 84%.
Yes,
maybe that's a little trick of the mind there.
I guess so.
Well, while all these crazy algorithms we can't really get a handle on, you can always get a handle on our metrics for rating here. It's very it might sound complex at first, but it's really just on a 100-point scale. So Nick, why don't you hit us with our score and tweet length review?
Okay, I'll lead us off then. So I gave this a 97 out of 100, all-time top 5 comic book movie. Without question. The animation is absolutely mind-blowing. When you talk about the little things that make a movie great, the detail the animation team had during like the in-between moments of this movie, absolutely remarkable. And that all comes on top of the fact that this is like a fun time all around. Great, just a great movie in general, but it's just elevated to that next level because of that remarkable attention to detail.
Yeah, Nick, sometimes we're on the same block. Sometimes we're next door neighbors. Sometimes we're bunk bed roommates. But today, I think we're soaking. You know, we're talking, if you will. It's almost Pride Month here, so maybe that's appropriate terminology. But because I gave it also a 97 out of 100, a delightful movie. Upon every rewatch, I think nothing really ages poorly about this. It has heart, action, comedic relief, representation from everyone. You know, I think whether you see yourself or even see like a personality of someone there. I think what's great about some of those like high school drama movies, like Dazed and Confused dramedy type movies or something, or Breakfast Club, is like everyone knows someone that's that character from their high school. And I think that's kind of the case here with all the different Spider-Man and all the different characters that come up. The unique animation is really a game changer and just tells a great Spider-Man story. So this might be the best comic book movie to date, depending on who you ask.
I think that is a fair debate to be had, honestly.
Yeah, and we might have it actually, because as we get to the exit survey here, how does this movie compare on rewatch to viewing it for the first time?
Just as good as I remember it. Like it's been, like I said, it's been a while, and I feel like there were little things like, realizing it was Catherine Hahn voicing Doc Ock, like all like stuff that I just didn't remember. But yeah, it was outstanding.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think this has big time staying power. It's very reliable to watch like every couple of months, in my opinion. If it's like on a streaming service, which I think it was. I think it was on Netflix for a while, then maybe HBO Max. But now they're marketing off of it, you capitalizing on it, make it a video on demand. But at any rate, I think it's like a nice movie to fall asleep to. It's almost like The Office or Parks and Rec for me, where it's like I don't really have to watch it. It's just nice kind of background noise or background viewing, because like the animation experience, the visual experience is so good.
That's interesting. I did not know you felt that way about it.
It kind of has. I think I realized it upon watching it again. It's like I've seen this movie a good amount of times, and I like it. I got to quit lying to myself here. I just gotta tell the world.
Yeah, there you go. It really is that freaking good though. Like it's one of the best. There's no two ways. It's just like, and it's not. It's beyond the genre, I think, too. And what makes it so special too is like it's animation. Most people, that's going to turn them off, and doesn't matter with this one.
Well, you think about, and I know it's not the exact same medium, but the MCU's first foray into animation with What If, and how that was so poorly received that it was like, is this a part of the universe? Is it not? And then now, like, people are looking at ways to rope the Spider-Man universe into the real life Sony universe or the real life MCU or whatever, so it's kind of interesting like that. But let's have this debate right now. Is this the best Spider-Man movie to date? And follow-up question, is it the best comic book movie overall?
I don't think there's a debate about if it's the best Spider-Man movie to date. It is the best Spider-Man movie to date.
I think No Way Home makes a good argument for it. But again, a lot of No Way Home is just across the Spider-Verse and live action in some ways.
Yeah, and it's got something special to it for sure. Like the No Way Home, but this is just it relies on so much stuff previous to the movie, where when you're comparing the two, to me, it's not even a discussion just because of that alone.
Yeah, and this might be a top 3, top 4. I like your Mount Rushmore. I never heard that before. I think it could be in the Mount Rushmore, maybe top 5. But it's up there as great as comic. I think you talk about, your Logans, your Endgames, your Infinity Wars, like you mentioned there, Nick. But also maybe I don't know, Winter Soldier, maybe Guardians of the Galaxy. I think those are all kind of like within the conversation there.
Yeah, well, I whenever we talk about these rewatches of a movie that maybe we haven't seen in a while, discussed in a while, whatever, I tend to go back to that list that we did for Dork, which was, I think, our top 50 comic book movies of all time. I knew this was in my top 5. I just wasn't certain exactly where I had it. I knew I had Infinity War and Endgame ahead of it, and then Logan was the one that I'd forgotten for sure. I knew that was the top 5 as well, but to me, I don't think it's up for debate with this one though. I honestly, I think with those four, like, you can mix and match where you have those in your conversation. I don't think it's deniable, or it's undeniable that like those are at least top 10 for everybody who like the genre.
Yeah, and this is in the conversation. I think, it's always like, who's your top 5 in the NBA, and it can really, it's all the same players, but it's really the ordering that kind of differentiates from people, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. So, all right, great. So, what was the most rewatchable scene of this movie?
You know what's crazy is that friggin' shot of him jumping off the skyscraper and like the glass shattering and everything. Like we talk about this constantly, how like if the best stuff from that movie was in the trailer, usually that's not a good sign.
Right. Yep.
This is one of those few exceptions where it's like, this is just so good. It doesn't, like, it's fine. And there's a little bit more to it that we don't get in the trailer too. Like it's based on my memory, it's been so long, but that shot is just like, it's everything. Like that. It's like a great encapsulation of everything that this movie brings to you. And it's still like one of the like I watch it now and it's just like it's just so cool, and the music and everything, and
the upside down. Yeah, I mean that's what I have in here. I think we're talking about the same thing, but it's the what's up danger scene of it all, right? So it's like right after he's like fully realized all of his powers, he's just have that like that great moment with his father after Uncle Aaron died, and he's feeling like he's drifting away from Miles, and he's trying to go talk to him through the dorm room door. And that's really another great watchable scene. Just the dynamic between his father and Miles, there, Jefferson and Miles, and kind of see their relationship. I thought they really got that well, about maybe the struggles of drifting away from your teenage son and then wanting to kind of still be there, but you want to let him out and kind of be on his own too. So all that kind of problems kind of coming through there. What ultimately amounts to the great power comes great responsibility equivalent. That's kind of what gives Miles Morales that confidence to go jump off, that big skyscraper and then get all his powers and kind of get the full use of them. So I think all of that is really great. In like a 5 or 10 minute scene, I think that's probably like one of the top scenes overall, but all of the Spider-Man introductions are amazing. And that's a nice little callback joke. And like, the great, one of the great keys to comedy is repetition, right? So
sure. Yeah.
It works there.
It does. That is another good one. Spider-Ham is, I fucking love him. We'll talk about that more later, but, let's see what else I got. Oh, Spider-Gwen entering the mix, like her, like not just like, I know you're talking about the intros, but like her, for like when we first see her get involved in the action as Peter B. Parker and Miles are running away from Doc Ock. I mean, that all of that was good too. That was cool. But in general, Wes, like the thing about this movie that like why it's also another reason why it's so like awesome. There are movies where they're really good movies, but like I'm itching for like a certain scene. I'm ready to get past this certain point, like rewatch. Like I remember this, okay, and like I'm trying to get to, there's certain spots that I want to get to. I was just thinking about this now as you were kind of going through some of your picks. Like never in this movie do I think that at all. Like it's
and I think the animation has a big part of that because it is just so visually pleasing to the eye that it just like you stay glued to the screen.
Yeah, 100%. That is a great point. Like they make everything, every second of this thing count. I mean, like the when Miles is doing the graffiti with Uncle Aaron, like even that was really cool. I mean, them jumping over the fence, like it's just a little thing, but it's like it's funny. Like so. All of it. I mean, the final battle also is the other one that I just want to point out as well. Like that was very well done too. Super trippy. But they did a really good job with that too.
I loved it. I loved it too. And again, getting an emotional response out of you, making you emotionally invested in the relationship between Miles and Peter B. Parker, Miles and his father, and all that Miles and Gwen, you feel that connection, albeit through an animated lens, which I think is tougher to do than having like live action there. So
100%.
Kudos to them. Who was your favorite Spider character?
I mean, the main three characters it's like a kind of an equal playing field for me. I probably put Peter B. Parker as number 3 for me. Number 3 for me. I like Miles. I love his look, like especially when he's got the hoodie going and everything. Yeah, it's just it's unique. And for me too, like sometimes when you're that new character and you're going through an origin story, it's not always easy to kind of we've talked about it before how just origin stories can be like formulaic and not great, and then like the main character, yeah, you like them for some of the things they do, but it takes a second for them to become who they are, who we know them as. Like Miles is just Miles from the jump, and yeah, he gets a little bit of confidence, but like this is just who that kid is. So I had an appreciation for that, and then Gwen too. I mean, she's a badass, and she's very agile too. Like she's got to talk about cool look. The two of them, man. I know everybody loves the classic Spider-Man look, and I do too. But those two, like whoever designed those years ago,
no, those are great suits for sure. Yeah.
So it's those two, and then Spider-Ham bring up the rear for me.
So I got Peter B. Parker number one. I think he's that schlubby middle-aged guy that I can relate to. He's like not really in shape, but he's not really fat either. He's like he's kind of both. I think I said the same thing there. He's kind of in shape, but he's kind of fat at the same time.
Yeah, but
he's schlubby. He's wearing sweatpants. Like that's an all-time Halloween costume. Just pull out the Spider-Man costume and then throw in some sweats, and then you're good. That's it there. So
that's a great call.
I like that self-deprecating. Jake Johnson played that perfectly or voiced that perfectly there. So you can really see him being that Peter B. Parker through the animation there, through his voice work. So I love that. Spider-Man Noir with Nick fucking Cage.
There you go.
Nailed it that time.
Nice.
Is great too. Again, way over the top, and to play that like LA Confidential, like noir voice was very, very cool too. I love that. It's all good stuff there. Miles was awesome too. Miles and Gwen, I got no beef with them, but those are probably my top two.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that there's a character that I thought was poorly done in this movie.
No. Everyone comes out great. Kind of like what we talked about with Dungeons and Dragons last week. It's a very likable group overall, and everyone kind of pulls their own weight very well. And then all the side characters become very lovable and attached to, again, with like the family aspects of that. So, yeah, absolutely. I had this one blank because I almost removed the question from the exit server, but you have a good question here for unanswerable questions.
Well, there's the natural question of, is it possible for the sequel to match this one in terms of staying power and overall fan appreciation? I mean, but like that's like just a basic question. I think the more interesting one is, unless you wanted to say something on that.
No, I think that's a fair question. And again, it's tough. It's kind of like what we were talking about with I Think You Should Leave. It's like, are we going to get more of the same, or is this going to kind of advance it in a different, cool way?
Yeah.
I think that's a fair question to have.
But the better question to have is, by making everything so multiverse driven, will Sony and Marvel bring this cast of characters into the MCU throughout MCU's multiverse saga?
Yeah, I mean, I think you got to leave it on the table for Secret Wars. I think that certainly brings into it, and with the way No Way Home ended, with the Venom and then the Mobius crossover, who knows? Like I don't know what's going on in the minds of Sony and Marvel when it comes to Spider-Man use. So I would say everything is possible. Yeah, anything is possible. It's Game 7.
Oh, look at you! If I'm curious your answer to this too, Wes. Like, who, if they were considering doing that, which characters would you want to do that? And I would think you'd bring the actors in still, but you couldn't do it like we're getting Spider-Man 2099 brought in the mix. I don't think you could do it with him, but I do think like Jake Johnson, like taking on.
I would love that. Yeah, cool. and Hailee Steinfeld, Gwen Stacy, I think that would be really cool to see.
That's a tough one because she is Kate Bishop.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yes. Yeah, that's a good point. But I don't know. Maybe if it is a what is I going to say, like a Secret Wars type of thing. Like, I don't know. But cast her twice. Who cares? Throw a blonde wig on her.
This is true. Like if you're talking like bring her
double the rate.
I guess I was looking. You got to make sure you give her a quote, Wes.
Yeah, meet her quote, double it.
Yeah. Oh wow, that is going to be a problem. But I would have, like, if you're talking about having them come into the mix for like one movie and then that's it, then I could see them doing that. I guess I was kind of looking at it more like long haul. This is the way you could bring these characters into the MCU because then I'm thinking like I think Shameik Moore, Jake Johnson. Like, you definitely can do it with those two. You could have done it with Spider-Gwen and Hailee Steinfeld. You just might have to recast her when she gets into the MCU.
So Shameik Moore, his voice works perfectly, but on his headshot for IMDb, he looked a little bit older. Obviously, like Miles Morales is like a freshman or sophomore in high
Yeah.
school. Like he's just hitting puberty. I'm not sure if that would work. The voice, again, is perfect for it, but
28. You'd have to just
age him up or move it further in the timeline.
Exactly. That's that. I mean, and you could do that, but that's the thing you'd have to do. But
But
my thing is like I'd want to give those actors like first crack at it since they were.
Yeah, for sure, absolutely. Kind of like The Last of Us did with the game, right? They got all the voice actors from the game in there. So
yes,
yeah, cool stuff. All right, so what will age the best from this movie aside from this movie itself?
To me, like, well, the execution of like the spider characters was huge. I mean, like again, there's so many things you can talk about with this movie and say it's good, but with that, especially the main three characters, I just like I said before, I love all of them. Like, which one's your favorite? I would be happy to see a movie on either one of those separately. I would absolutely give those a look without hesitation. But to me, it's not even close. It's the animation that will age best from this movie. To me, Wes, and I wanted to say this earlier when we were talking about the animation. Like we've had some actors recently, right? And there's actors and actresses, maybe directors, producers, whatever, where if they're involved in a project, like people are going to be interested in giving that a look. I checked the credits, but I didn't jot any of the names down. But like this animation team, if like the key players, if they're involved in another animated thing, like I'll know visually, but I want to see that whatever it is.
Yeah. No, I'm with you too. And just to go that comic panel style specifically of the animation, and then how they also worked in the use of the real comics like into the story. Like when Miles Morales again finally gains his confidence and full use of his powers, you get to the cover, you get a cover page of the Miles Morales Spider-Man, or when he's going through his process of actually getting bit by the spider and going through that transformation, he's reading the Spider-Man comic of Peter going through that transformation at the same time. I thought that was pretty cool that he's like, again, reading the comics and he's a fan of the Spider-Man stuff as well. So I'm there with that as well. Just pulling off a multiversal story effectively. 2018. This was pre-Endgame. Right?
I think it's post-Endgame.
I think it might have been right around the same time. But nevertheless, Endgame, yeah, that was just introducing the multiversal story. And then you get more kind of delving into it after. But I think this really pulled it off well, and it kind of set the benchmark for like, all right, this is what we can do here, even in a live action platform.
Sorry, I'm trying to check out the release dates.
Okay, I'll keep going here. I can fill the air. I'm filled with it. All the meta jokes about Spider-Man in the opening, the emo dancing from Spider-Man 3, the animated theme song, the crappy ice cream treat from the ice cream man. So all that stuff. I like that self-awareness that they showed, especially early on.
You mentioned the emo Spidey dancing. As I'm watching it, I forgot this happened. It's like right at the beginning. That's when, like, when you wonder how long it's been since I've seen it. So you were correct. Into the Spider-Verse came out before Endgame. Spider-Verse came out in 2018, and then Endgame was early 2019.
Okay, yeah. So, and I feel like this was like the end of 2018, right? Probably around like October, November, something like that, right?
This was, I believe, it was December.
Okay, yeah. So like right on the heels, right? That was an April release for Endgame, I think so. Yeah, so right on there. But nevertheless, kind of setting the benchmark for how to do a multiversal story, and then saying like, oh, this can actually work. Fans will eat this up. So I think that works. The soundtrack, we played the Sunflower song, "What's Up, Danger." It kind of plays, kind of sets the scene very well, I think. Yeah, and I think that's it. I think that's all I got. What do you got for me?
For
anything else?
No, for what will age the best. I mean, like, no, you had already jotted down a bunch of notes, and like I would have just been stealing your stuff if I went first. So no, I agree with everything that you said. Everything.
Oh, beautiful. I love that. Well, we both give it a 97. That's that kind of docking connection that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah, Lauren, whenever we do these rewatches, not always, but like there were some where she wants to rewatch it with me, and this was one of them, and she's like, "What are you giving that as a grade?" And I was like, "Oh, I mean, I'm going to give it a really high grade. I'm not sure exactly on the number at the moment, but it's like, okay."
What'd she give it a grade?
She has it like at the same range. She might maybe a little bit better than us.
She loved it. Okay, all right.
I feel like it's 98 for her, something like that.
I think you guys get along pretty well. You should think about that.
Yeah. It's something to consider. Yeah.
You should do something about that. Yeah.
I don't know, man. I don't
know. What will age the worst from this movie, if anything?
I honestly, Wes, I feel lame saying this, but I don't have something for you. Like,
no, I'm really with there because it's tough. Like, again, all the corny stuff kind of plays into it because it is like geared towards kids and people of all ages. So like, you know, some of that stuff is excusable, and even like the corny stuff of being like an awkward teenager like plays. Like, I think it works. It's more endearing than corny or cringy or anything like that. So I kind of had to rack my brain for this, and my only thing I could think of is aside from Kingpin's chicken legs and his body proportion, that was a little honorable mention there. I mean, I know he's supposed to be larger than life, but he was a little out of proportion there.
See, like, I like that because like that's a comic booky thing to do. Like, make him like, you could never make him look like that in real life. It would
just
never
give him tree trunk legs. I don't got a problem with his girth, but he gets too narrow. He's got barrel chested, and then like I don't know how you can even like withstand the weight, like the weight distribution. Just even
Wes doesn't like people with chicken legs. All right, duly noted. You and your
you can't skip leg day. He's skipping leg day. That's what's coming down to.
If there's one thing Wes is, it's a calf elitist.
That's true. Fact. That's true. You know, I call him like I see him here. But the only thing that I could really come up with was introducing the multiversal story to the big screen. So the same thing that it did really well is also kind of hurt it. Because it does kind of give writers and studios an out for everything. And it kind of lessens the stakes to a degree. So, you know, again, getting things sparingly. And then like sometimes I feel like Hollywood just like, oh, everyone's in multiverse right now. So we got to do the multiverse thing. And then by the time it goes to production and then you get through all the final drafts and you get the casting and then you do all the filming and everything, it's like, we gotten 8 titles already that have come out with multiversal stuff. Now no one cares about it as it's finally in its finished product. So maybe that's it there, you know?
Yeah, no, but I agree with you. Like, it's very strange when you look. I remember that as a kid being like, wait, this is out and now this is out. Like, isn't that like the same thing? Like,
yeah,
I have no problem with, I don't mind getting more of a similar thing. Like, Lord knows I've watched plenty of high fantasy and all this other stuff, but obviously the comic book stuff, but it's just when it's so similar, do you need to have them together at the same time all the friggin' time?
Right. Yeah. It's like, you know, do we need Deep Impact and Armageddon? Do we need Dante's Peak and what's the other one? And Dante's Peak and Inferno? Volcano, you know, coming out at the same time. You know, it's like we get those movies all the time.
Would you? So my question is, and maybe Hollywood. I mean, look, they're Hollywood for a reason, I guess. But like, do you like when you hear, okay, I got this one coming out now in April, and then this other one's going to come out in June? It's like the same thing. Are you more likely to see both of those, or are you likely if they do one and then the next year they do another like that other movie that's similar? Are you?
Yeah, I'll go back. I wouldn't go to the theater to see the same movie twice, you know, unless it's like, again, the superhero stuff is like a little different there.
Sure.
But if it is like a Deep Impact Armageddon type thing, or like, you know, the Day After Tomorrow and then Knowing or whatever, you know, all these like end of the world type of movies, like, no, I'll see the one that has the better actors or that looks like the better movie and then go from there.
It's that I tend to agree. So
who had the best performance by a side character, Nick? And there's a ton.
Yeah, there are a lot. I know who one of your favorite Spider characters were, so I'm not going to be talking about him necessarily, but Spider-Ham is just,
of course. Oh, he's great. John Mulaney, again, perfect casting, voice casting for that.
Another one where I have no idea how the hell they would bring him into the MCU, but like unless it was the what if stuff. But I'd be very interested in seeing John Mulaney, Spider-Ham thrown in the mix. Peter Porker. I mean, come on.
There is a tear in the current multiverse that he slides through and then gets captured or saved by the new Guardians of the Galaxy, so that you can have Spider-Man and Cosmo the Space Dog and Rocket Raccoon and Groot and all this stuff right together. So it's a whole kind of ragtag mix there, and he's helping out.
I love that idea. I more meant, how do you feel about, like, I don't know how they could do it visually. Like,
that would be tough there too.
Yeah, I mean, he's in a spider suit, so it probably works. It could be a little bit easier, but that's the part. But the other one for me is Doc Ock. I mean, and also like Catherine Hahn. I mean, I love Catherine Hahn.
Oh, yeah, all timer. Yeah.
Yes, I have a very soft spot for her. And she just, I mean, she kills it here. She's absolutely great. And it's just out of nowhere. It's like, oh wait, you're fucking Doc Ock. Like this universe is Doc Ock.
And it's a good reveal too. You know, something that doesn't age very well upon rewatch is that reveal, unless you forget about it, right? Because you think she's just a scientist helping out Wilson Fisk, and then you're like, oh no, she is the scientist.
Yeah, like that's right. That I can understand that. Like you already know.
Yeah.
But in that moment, when
it's not negative, but you're just not getting that moment again.
Yeah. So one of those things is going to happen like that. But yeah, when you see it, it's like, oh, okay. Yeah. So she's really diabolical, evil, everything. I very much enjoyed her performance.
Yeah, and we talked about Spider-Man Noir a little bit too, but I liked Uncle Aaron, Mahershala Ali. I also liked the Prowler character too. I thought that was a very cool character, one that I don't remember too much from my childhood. Yeah. So I thought that was like a very cool character to use. But the Uncle Aaron dynamic, as well as Jefferson, the father there, and seeing them kind of the dichotomy of two men kind of going in different directions. They're still similar, but they're doing different things, you know? So I thought I really liked that. Yeah. And the family aspect stuff I enjoyed.
So I was familiar, like somewhat, with the character Prowler before this movie. That said, I did not know Prowler has been around since the 60s.
Really?
Yeah. Prowler's been around for a while. Just a quick little Google there. That was surprising. Didn't know that. But yeah. He was very cool. Like everything about him. And again, like so I knew that character was Prowler, so I didn't have that same shock that I think most people would have. But did you have that like when you first watched it?
Yeah, I think I didn't know. I think that was a little bit of a surprise too, because I had no history of it, and I can't recall. It wasn't as big of a reveal or a surprise as Doc Ock with Catherine Hahn there. So I don't remember it like I do that, but yeah, that had to be the case.
Yeah, and the way like with Catherine Hahn's Doc Ock, like it's cool, but it's. And they do a good job with it. Like we're talking about staying power with a reveal like that is difficult. Like it's not, you're naturally going to lose that, but they did it and it's kind of quick the way it happens. You don't see this character long, but then with Prowler, it's like you've gotten to know, you've seen him around a little bit, you know, Uncle Aaron and their relationship and everything. It's like, it just hits a lot deeper. So I feel like there is a little bit more staying power for how they do it. And it's also like, it's very fluid. Like nothing is spoken when it comes to like revealing who it is.
Well, that leads us into who lost the movie, and I have to say I'm a little surprised with your choice.
Well, I mean, he died, so
that's why I said a little surprised.
But also, so like Uncle Aaron, Prowler, like great performance, awesome stuff from Mahershala Ali. Loved the character in every sense. But not only did he die, like it was he didn't have a good relationship with his brother before he passed away. And what he found out, like who he found out the Spider Kid was that he was chasing, like you could tell. I mean, he sacrificed himself. Like he knew something was going to happen, and he was just like, I'm out, I'm done. Like right in that moment, he felt so guilty and terrible, and it's just like, I don't remember feeling it so hard for him the first time around, but I definitely felt it for the guy this time around, where he's like, fuck, man, I cannot believe this.
Yeah, it's too bad. And he had a pretty swanky life, pretty nice apartment. He had a great use of the subway system that he understood, so he could just kind of go in and around there. It's good stuff. Mine was Penny Parker, I guess. Like again, kind of tough one, kind of coming up with here from my point of view, but this from what I understand, it's like a Japanese kind of anime type of style, right? Character, just not really for me. Probably past the time, that character was probably released after I moved away from comic books and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, of the Spider people, she was definitely number 5 on my list.
Yeah, not for me. So you can't win them all. But who won the movie, Nick? Who won the movie?
I mean, for me, it's between on screen between Miles and Spider-Gwen, but also I think overall it has to be the animation team, because they're doing this next Spider-Man movie, and they're supposed to be a third one, right? There's two. This one's a 2-parter.
Yeah.
So
Beyond the Spider-Verse, I think that's what it's going to be called.
So they got no shortage of work right now. But after this, I would think this team, like in some capacity would want to stick together, because like they did such a good job, and they should be able to get more animation work. Because like not only do they do cool animation like with Miles and the characters who have the same animation style as him, but they bring in Spider-Ham, who has a different look to him. And then like Penny Parker, same thing, has a different look to her, more anime style. And this was like, for me, I know anime is like, that's kind of like more like the not the peak, but like it's the height of animation right now. To me, this was the next step in animation.
I like that. I'm with you on that. That's great. And obviously the animation team goes big. Peter B. Parker, again, I think for all the 30-year-old schlubby fans of comic book movies, I think they all saw themselves a little bit inside of him. So I thought Gwen Stacy's Spider-Gwen was a great addition to be able to see her on screen, see her suit on screen. Very cool, even if it wasn't an animated version. And Sony overall, Sony doesn't get very much credit, and rightfully so. But this was one of the things that they did really, really right, and really started them to go off and market the Spider-Verse, right? So, excuse me, you get Mobius now. You get all the other movies that are going to be coming out. I think they're going to be like Spider-Woman, right? They have all these rights to all these Spider characters that they're going to be putting to use in some way, shape, or form now.
We'll see if they get any other of them right. They
that's true.
Like what is it? I would say like Venom right now has been kind of like a Mark Bellhorn, if you will, like where he like it's okay, but it's not that great. Like, but there are some like good moments, and like, you obviously got to keep them in the lineup. And then this is like your Man, Your Mary's, Your Big Papi. But other than that, it's just like
who's
Mike Lansing's. Like,
I was going to say maybe Carlos Baerga.
Oh wow, was he an all-star? By the way, it's Morbius,
he might have been,
not Mobius.
Oh, say that they can't do that to me.
Yeah, no, I hate that. I absolutely hate that. Like, who I don't know when that character got invented. Like, but Mobius, when you already have Morbius, is a sick joke.
No, it's not. It's not good. It's not good. But you know what's not a joke though is Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse here, because this got a rock solid 97 from Nick, a rock solid 97 for me. That's a aggregate score, if I'm doing my math correct, for a CMM 97.
Ooh,
this is pretty good. Pretty good. Let me carry the 2 here. Okay, we got it. Great. So yeah, definitely go watch this movie ahead of Across the Spider-Verse, hitting theaters near you this weekend. So
very glad I did that.
Go check out Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.